Mayor Pete Buttigieg has just made the case of why he doesn't actually believe in Medicare for all. Take a look.
You used to be for broader Medicare for all. You didn't qualify it in any way. Is your main argument against Medicare for all now that it can't get passed or that it won't work?
Look, I think it could very well be the long-run destination, but I think there's got to be some humility in our policy here. Let's put this out there and see if it's really the best plan for everybody. I think it will be the best plan, but I'm not willing to assume that it is the right plan for you out of Washington and order you to take it whether you want to or not. If it's the right plan, then everybody will move to it until it is the single payer. And if it's not the right plan for everybody, then we're going to be really glad we didn't kick some Americans off their private plans. I'm thinking, for example, about a lot of union members who fought and negotiated for good plans they have today. They don't want to have to abandon those plans because Washington tells them they must do that in 4 years or less. It doesn't make sense. And the most important thing is we can get to universal health care coverage without putting America through all of that, without kicking people off their private plans, without disagreements to the tune of 10 or 15 trillion dollars over how much this is going to cost, which is equivalent to the entire GDP of the country. We have a plan that is affordable, that is paid for, and that allows you to choose instead of Washington choosing for you. And it's the boldest thing we will have done to American healthcare in a half century.
All right, so again, this is a reason why Buttigieg I think is pretty dangerous, because he's mastered the art of platitudes. So first, again, a lot of platitudes. Oh, it's choice, and we're going to give people a choice, and everything's going to be great. And yes, the ultimate goal is single payer, even though it's not his goal. I can almost assure you that, and I'm going to prove it later on. But here's the platitudes, and of course, the right-wing talking points, the Republican talking points of it's too expensive, and it kicks people off their insurance. So now, here's the problem with that. Flat out, 100% lie. Does it kick people off insurance? It actually gives them better insurance that isn't tied to their job. And not only that better insurance includes vision, dental, everything. It's all covered. It's all covered. Now, the second lie here is that Medicare for all who want it is Medicare for all. No, it's not. It's literally just a public option. It's not single payer. Now, the problem with the public option in our system is that it won't actually exist. Our system is different because what we have right now is a system that is bought off completely by private entities, right? For example, if you have a public option, and of course you continue to have private insurance, then you're going to have politicians who are paid off by private insurance, corrupt politicians, that will do everything they can to basically undercut and sabotage the public option. First, like I said, they'll undercut it, right? The insurance companies will. That helps them siphon off the healthiest Americans into the private market. That leaves the sick and poor in the public system. And since the resources will be split, and you will not have cost savings proposals, or measures in this, then you're going to have the cost of the public system rise exponentially and will create a death spiral. This is why you cannot preserve private insurance in America, in this country. Now, the other lie is, of course, the cost. The Sanders plan, estimated by the most conservative studies, still saves about $2 trillion over the next 10 years. We are already on track. We are to spend about $3.4 trillion now. We're on track to spend about $50 trillion on healthcare in 10 years by the year 2030. Disastrous. That's about $5 trillion a year. So now the math, not on Pete's side, as keeping private insurance, again, does nothing to keep costs down. You don't have cost saving measures like the reduction of administrative costs like you have in Medicare. It's about 2.3 percent administrative costs, while private insurance is somewhere around 12 to 16%. You would have more savings by cutting down administration when it comes to Medicare for all. One point also brought up by the establishment, brought up by Mayor Pete, is, of course, union negotiated healthcare, right? So one of the main talking points now is you don't want to take the healthcare away from union members, right? They fought for that. But again, you don't mention how the insurance that they're losing, or I should say the insurance that they're gaining, is better than what they lost. You actually have better insurance, and it's also not tied to your job. And according to the provisions of some of these Medicare for all bills, you have the wages. I'm sorry, the what would have been used for health insurance that would go back into wages. So you would actually get extra money in your paycheck, or you're supposed to, right? So now, union workers, of course, they're not going to miss out. They're actually going to benefit even more. But again, what's missing in this conversation when we talk about unions, uh, and why a lot of unions don't like Medicare for all, and I'm not saying the union members, but I'm saying more the union bosses, is that some of these unions, they also sell health insurance. They sell health insurance plans. So not all of them, but enough of them. And as a union guy myself, that deeply upsets me because I'm very, very pro union, right? No, in reality, Medicare for all would be fantastic for the workers. And as the GM strike pointed out, even if you have really great negotiated health insurance benefits, if you go on strike, or if you lose your job, or if they downsize and move to Mexico, well, then you've basically just lost your health insurance. I mean, during the strike that just happened, GM literally pulled all of its health care from striking workers. Is that the kind of power that you want to preserve? Or would you like to go to a Medicare for all system where even if you lose your job or if you're striking for better wages, that you'll still have health care? Mayor Pete, unfortunately, wants to keep this system. And it's because he's received tens of thousands of dollars from private health insurance companies and executives. Real Sludge reports that as of mid 2019, Buttigieg was second only to Donald Trump in overall campaign cash from donors in the health sector. And among Democrats, he was second to former Vice President Joe Biden in terms of donations from the pharmaceutical and health insurance companies. He is awash in donor money. And so, of course, he goes back as soon as he starts getting the money and no longer supports Medicare for all. And now even openly attacks it while claiming that single payer is eventually going to be the goal. No. That's what Nancy Pelosi has been saying for years, possibly decades. I know at some point she said she had a Medicare for all sign in her basement. Well, that's probably where she buried it, along with the idea of actually doing Medicare for all. She's not going to do it. Mayor Pete's not going to do it. He's not actually interested because he's never going to go against the donors that fund his campaign. And that's it. And as far as humility, I don't want to put humility back in policy. I want to put the humanity back into policy. And I hope we all do. And the only way to do that, at least when it comes to healthcare, is guaranteeing healthcare to every man, woman, and child through Medicare for all. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.